give you the strength that is necessary to keep you in that place that you would desire to be in. So we're very blessed to have with us our beloved brother Minister Farrakhan. I wasn't blessed to be here on Wednesday night, but I heard about it, and I heard it was something else. And I know all that were present for your first time Wednesday night, and those who are blessed to be back with us tonight. Make sure you come out again Sunday. And sometimes you sit back and listen to Minister Farrakhan and you say, where does it all come from? Well, he's drinking from a well that, it has no end to it. They call it the well of Zamzam. He's drinking from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and there's no end to his wisdom. And every time he opens his mouth, it's something new, something different. Something that you never heard before. And you just say, wow, where does it all come from? I want you to listen tonight. And though you have sat here many nights before, I want you to listen tonight. And may Allah bless you that you are seeking and that you are looking for, that will give you the power and the strength over your own being to hold you in that place that you want to be in so bad. I pray to Allah that you will get it tonight from our beloved Brother Minister Farrakhan. So our ministers here, let's bring on our beloved Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the one God to whom all praise is due, the Lord of the worlds, we thank Allah for blessing us with our beloved leader, teacher and guide, the messenger of Allah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I thought you told me that you were going to fill up the house. I see a lot of empty seats. And I turned down dinner with the messenger of Allah just to come back here because you said that you were going to bring out some people for me to talk to. The messenger kept asking me to stay there with him. And I said, well, I had promised you. And so I didn't want to disappoint you. So I learned a lesson. When the messenger asks you to stay with him, I don't care who you promise. Your promise is to Allah and His messenger. You would have understood, wouldn't you? Yes. You would have understood if you heard that I was there with him, and I'm sorry I just couldn't get away. I think you would have understood. I had a very wonderful meeting with Messenger Muhammad today, and he's in very good health and spirits. I would like all that are in the building, come on up here where I can see them. Take them all out of the basement, second floor. Just want to look at you. Just give me a couple of minutes. We've been flying around in the air for about 3 hours. Plane couldn't land. And if something, just get up and rush off and jump on a plane, land, and go and take care of your business, and then rush back and jump on a plane and be flying around in the air for a long time. When you get your feet on the ground, you still feel like you're flying. I don't intend to keep you long, but very briefly, we will just take shortcuts to that which we wanted to say to you tonight. One of the instructions to all of us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad reads like this. We must be quick thinking, fast moving, cleanliness, in and out, right down to the modern time. And if they don't clean up, they are out of luck with us. So that's wonderful.
Yes, sir.
You must, look at the words now, not maybe, should be, we must be quick thinking, fast moving, clean in and out, right down to the modern time. And if they don't clean up, they're out of luck with us. Who is this us here that we would be out of luck with? And why is that us laying down for us demands? You can join any organization, you can join any group you want to join. They don't make a demand on you. They're so happy to have you. But with this us that's talking here, they're not so particular that you come unless you come on their conditions. Now that's something to think about. Those are some independent speakers here. The two that are speaking here, Allah and his messenger. It is Allah's will that the black man of America and the dark people of the world rise up in this day and take their proper and rightful place. But the world does not know God. And the world does not believe that Allah is God and that God is a man and has made his appearance in the world, not a spook, not a spirit, but a living human being. And that God has appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad and has raised up among the black people who are lost in the wilderness of sin, in the West, in the hells of North America. He has raised a messenger. And he has made that messenger like unto himself, that whatever he, Allah, desires, the messenger desires the same thing. So when you obey one, you obey both. Because both of them have the same will, the same desire, the same mind, the same spirit. In fact, they have the same heart, as it is written in the scripture, that Allah chose his messenger because he had a heart just like God. And you know that's something to think about. Heart here doesn't mean the physical, means the core of his mind. The base upon which his thinking is built up was the same as that of God himself. So therefore he was a fit vessel for God to choose to use to make a nation for himself. Now anyone who wants to become a part of the nation that God is raising up under the divine guidance of his messenger. And if you are not familiar with Scripture, the Scriptures teach us that in the last days, Allah would raise up a nation that would obey. Not a group, not an organization, but a nation. when you come out of the white man's world to your nation, you can't enter the door until you are searched at the border and relieved on that borderline of that which offends your nation. Therefore, when you hit the temple, which is not the property of America, but is a house representative of your independent nation, there's a border check at the door, because you just walked out of the white man's world and you walk now into the world of your God and the world or nation of your own that you don't even know you're a part of. So naturally, when you meet the border, you got a strict border patrol there. Say, who goes here? Huh? It's just like the boundary of any nation. When you reach a nation that is not your nation, they have a customs immigration, and you got to open up your bag and show what you bringing in, because maybe what you bringing in is contraband and not liked by that nation. So they have to apprise you of what they want you to have. And if there's anything on your person that they are not in favor of, or if you are persona non grata, they will turn you around at the border and send you back. All right. This is a nation of the black man. Therefore, at the door, at the border, we turn all white people around. You got to go. We're very respectful, but this is for the black man. You say, well, why did you let me in? I'm not black. Every one of you that's not white is a member of the black nation. You non-white. So we permit you in, whether your hair is straight or your hair is nappy. Whether you're sweet Georgia brown, teasing tan, or high yellow, as long as you're not the odd fella, you can enter. All right. Now, your nation is a nation of right. Your nation is a nation of peace. Your nation is a nation built up on the brotherhood of the dark man. So when we make a check at the border, we want to see what you're bringing in from the world of the enemy that you just came out of. You may have brought your blade with you. May have brought your pistol. May have brought your cigarette. May have brought some reefer. Whatever you bring that we don't use in our nation, we tell you leave it at the border. And when you leave here and go back out to the world, you can pick up the world's material. And we don't allow no medicine in here. Why? I mean, I may get sick. Well, this is a place where we heal the sick. Most of your sickness is due to your improper living habits. And if you learn how to live and how to eat to live and how to think properly, you can get rid of your medicine, 90% of it. So now, when you come in, you notice everything here is strange. Especially if you're here for your first time, it may shake you up a little bit. After a man, check you out, see that your person is free of any articles that would offend your nation, the nation of the righteous, then we permit you up. Somebody asks you a few questions. I've never been any place and people check me. You been to Canada? The minute you hit the border, don't they stop your car and ask you a question? Ask you what nation you're a citizen of? Where were you born? We got to know who you are. Since we haven't met you before, we're checking you. This is only a preliminary as to what's going to happen when territorial borders and boundaries are set up. And because you
showed your willingness to submit to a search. We permitted you in. Because whenever you go to any government of your black brothers and sisters in Africa, Asia, or the Caribbean, if you don't want to abide by their rules, then don't go there. So when you come to the nation of the black man, we got rules and laws here. And if you don't want to abide by these rules and laws, then you are not welcome. But if you understand intelligence, that just because you don't understand why things are done doesn't mean that they're wrong. We have an experience with our people out of the white man's world. And we know that some will like what we say and some won't like it. And if they had a pistol in their pocket, maybe they might get angry and pull the pistol and get shot. You know. So since in our nation we don't believe in no big eyes, no little U's, we're all equal, then everybody, Muslims and non-Muslims, submit to a check. Therefore, you know when you're in here, everybody in here is clean of any physical weapon. So you can sit down in peace. You know nobody going to stab you. Nobody going to shoot you. We don't permit no smoking in here. No drinking, no alcohol, no nothing. You got to come sober. If you come staggering, we'll put you out. Because this here is to sober you up and make a man and a woman out of you. You can't build no world for the black man drunk nor high. Now you meeting up with your God. You meeting up with your messenger. You meeting up with your nation. And it's strange to you because you've been away from home for 400 years. You've been away from the discipline of a black man's life for 400 years. So now this is strange. You see black men, they ain't smiling too much. Everywhere you go, you meet black people or Puerto Rican people skinny. Everybody's showing you all that they don't have. Not here. This is too serious a time. We are very glad to have you, but we ain't overly smiling. We're looking, we're kind, congenial, but firm. And that's the way a black man got to be in the white man's world. You got to be that way with your brother. You got to be that way with your mother. You got to be that way with all. You got to be warm, friendly, but firm in that which is right. Now you hear a teaching. And after you hear the teaching, you are asked whether you want to accept it. But now if you say, I want to accept this teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you're just not permitted to walk in. Conditions are laid down. You can only be accepted back into your nation on these conditions. You got to meet certain qualifications. Isn't that something? I mean, that's not a begging God. He wants to tighten us up. He wants to make us a great nation. He wants to lift us up so we'll be respected and honored among the civilized nations of the earth. He knows the black man in America. He's slow moving. Slow moving. Watch us walking down the street, brother. Watch the brother. I mean, you go to the store. He's serving you. Look how slow he acts. Is this your order? He's pumping gas. Take him a half hour to come out of the station. A half hour to put the hose in the tank. And then 45 minutes just to wipe your window. The hand going over the window. So, have you watched our people? They're very slow. There's no quickness in their action because there's no quickness in their thinking. But if you're going to be modern and up to date and compete in a modern world, you got to get out of that slow moving. You got to get out of that slow thinking. You got to come right on down to the modern time. Now, what's going to help you to modernize? You certainly would look like a fool in 1974 riding up to the temple with your horse and your surrey. I mean, or if you didn't even have a surrey, just rode on your horse and jumped off the horse and looked for a lamppost to tie your horse to. I mean, man, you'd look really out of it, wouldn't you? Now, that would have looked all right in 1900, but this is 74. You'd look more intelligent walking than riding up on a horse and trying to hook it to the hydrant out there. Well, what are we talking about? If we're in the modern time, the time of the rise of the black man, brown man, yellow man, red man, universal rise, then you got to keep pace with his rise, and you can't keep pace with the rise of the black man holding on to ancient tribal religion. I don't care if it's African religion. I don't care if you got it from your ancestors. That's immaterial. The question is, will it help you to move in a modern world? And if it's not, then it's not modern equipment. You got to put it down, brother. Oh, I know you can learn to do the funga and all those beautiful African dances, but you're picking up something that we used thousands of years ago. Now you're in a modern world. Can you dance your way to food, clothing, and shelter? Can you dance your way to economic security? Then you don't need to dance. You need to be modern. I see you coming with a cross around your neck. Here you come. We can't make you modern with a cross around your neck because your brain is messed up. Your mind is back 2,000 years ago. How in the heck can we bring you down to modern time and you're riding in a time machine of 2,000 years ago? And when we start to talk to you about today, you said when Jesus walked in Galilee. Well, that's fine that he did walk in Galilee. It's fine that he healed the people 2,000 years ago, but you're sick as hell right now. Who's going to take care of you? Huh? We don't say discard Jesus, no. Nor do we say discard Moses, no. But what we say is discard any philosophy that restricts you and enslaves you to the past and makes you fruitless in the present and bankrupt in the future. You've got to have a philosophy that will modernize you and bring you right on down to the modern time. At last, the Arab world is moving into the modern age. And now that the Arab world has begun to harmonize the principles of the Holy Quran with modern technology and money. Because all the religion you got, brother, if you ain't got no money, you ain't got no religion. You say, oh, you sound very materialistic to me. I heard you. I heard you. Well, wait a minute. Are you all spirit or are you material too? Talk to me. I don't think that I'm not seeing you. I'm looking at something that is matter. And the law teaches us that matter is anything that has weight and takes up space. And I believe you're taking up a little space, and I believe you have a little weight, therefore you must be matter. And if you are matter, then what is the matter with you that you don't want material things? Huh? In order to think quickly, you got to have a modern teaching that will put you right in touch with the time and what must be done. This is where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad comes in. He's a modernizer of the thinking of the black man. He's a modernizer of the thinking of the black woman. There's nobody that comes in contact with the messenger that will be put in a time machine. This is why you can't cope with what Elijah Muhammad teaches. You may say, I don't dig religion, but when you come and meet us, you don't find us in no time machine. You find us making time. You find us making you move according to time. In fact, you moving according to our movement. If we didn't move, you couldn't move, because most of you black brothers and sisters are moving on the basis of a movement created by the mover himself. Elijah Muhammad. He's a moving man. And he's right on time. He's down to the modern times. He's quick thinking. And he don't like slow moving people. When you tell him something, he wants to see it get done. He wants it done quickly. If you can do it in 6 months, cut it to 3. If you can do it in 3, cut it to a month and a half. Because the more you learn to cut time and be quick in what you do, the more you save time, save life, and you can move on to bigger and better things. Therefore, Muhammad said, jump up and make a faster pace, because you're crawling in the time of the black man's rise. You're crawling toward freedom. No, you got to run after it today, because the time is right. You just need a modern equipment. So Muhammad says, quick thinking, fast movement. He don't like sashaying women nor men. Sauntering, like we don't know where we're going. When we were coming here, we knew where we were going, and we knew why we were going. And when we leave here, we know where we're going, and so we get there. Naturally, I'm not telling you to run speed and stop lights and whatnot. I'm only telling you to be intelligent, but move quickly. Black man and woman must move quickly today. And the only way you can move quick is if you think quick. And the only way you can think quick, you got to have that speedy teaching that will speed you up into the modern world. And this is why Elijah Muhammad is respected all over the black world, because the man's teaching, it will quicken the pace of any nation that will adopt his teaching. Because he's not dealing with no spook. He's dealing with God as a reality, God as a man. And if God is a man and you and I are men, then you and I are also a part of God. Understand how beautiful that is. But then you don't have to stand around praying and sitting down waiting for some mystery God to drop down bread on your table. Yes, pray, but then get up and go to work and make what you want to happen, happen. But if you don't want it to happen, Jim, ain't nothing going to happen. I don't care what kind of God you pray to. He's dead if you are dead. If you're alive, then God lives. But if you're dead, then God is dead where you're concerned, because you're waiting on a mystery to do for you what you could get up and do for yourself. Do you understand? Now, all right, listen. All praise is due to Allah for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I got to move quickly, because we know we don't have to take a lot of time. We got to learn to get it over in a couple of minutes. Now you may ask, well, what does that quick thinking, fast moving got to do with your subject, cleanliness, in and out, right down to the modern time? And if they don't clean up, they're out of luck with us. Well, now since we got to get on time, and we're 400 years behind time, then we got to prepare ourselves for quickness. But now, if you study motion, if you look at the blood that circulates in the system, the heartbeat, the purer the blood, the more the heart can keep its normal beat, and the blood can circulate at its proper rate of speed. But the more filth that gets into the blood, it makes the blood thick. And the heart has to pump harder and harder to move the blood through the veins, and it's not moving at the speed that it should move, all because filth has come into the blood. Well, what slows down a man's mind? What slows down a motor? When you got a fine automobile sitting out there, brother, or if it's a motorcycle, or if it's a bicycle, whatever the moving part is, the moving part must be made free from dirt. For when dirt and grime and filth become a part of the moving part, it slows down motion. And when motion slows down, time is lost and life is lost. Then if you don't clean it up quick, pretty soon your bicycle is no cycle. Your motorcycle won't motor. Your car won't move. Why? You need a ring job. You need a piston job. What's the matter? Filth has interfered with the motion, with the rhythm that gives life and power to this engine. They must clean up, he says, or they're out of luck with us. You're lucky, he says, to even believe after you've been taught all your life that God is a spirit. You are lucky to believe that God is a man. You are lucky to even see truth after being inundated and baptized in the filth and foolishness and scary spook civilization teachings of white people. You are lucky to be able to even see reality. But you become out of luck after you are able to see if you don't make a step now to clean up and get in step with what you see. Listen now. When your eyes come open, you see things as they are. When you see things as they are, listen to me carefully now, which means that we, the black people in America, are in a very powerless position. That's reality. White folks are the boss. That's reality. We live in their system, under their system of jurisprudence, in their economic system. We are shaped by their educational and their political system. Now, if we wake up and see that their educational system is destructive to us, their political system is corrupt, and it's designed to serve their ends, their system of justice or jurisprudence doesn't work for the black man, then the black man needs to be quick and set up the things for himself that he has been looking to white people to set up for us. But what makes him slow in moving after he sees that this is what must be done? You hear black people talking about, we got to have something of our own. We've got to have our own school. We've got to have our own farm. I mean, I can just hear them talking. Yeah, man, you Muslims need to build factories. That's what you need. Hell, we ain't going nowhere without factories. You so bright. You can tell us what we need, but that means you see. But if you see what we need, why aren't you moving quickly toward what we need? I'll tell you why you can't move. It's the filth of your life. It's the filth of your existence that makes you inch toward what you see. And the more filthy we are, the slower we get until we get out of time and get into the valley of death. That we see but can't do nothing about what we see. Therefore, in our powerless state, we lose hope and want to commit suicide or die where we stand. Cleanliness, in and out, is a must for the black man if he wants to move quickly into the modern time. See, a man can't think right if his mind is filled with dirt. Look at that beautiful eye you got, brother. This is a blessing to be able to see. Once you get a little dirt, just a little speck of dirt in your eye, that's it, man. I mean, you're not comfortable. I don't care if you're riding a fine car with a fine woman sitting next to you that you think is beautiful and you really want to look at her. But, man, just get some dirt in your eyes. See how it is. You pull the car over. Say, baby, you see something in my eye? Take that out. Because just one speck of dirt in your eye causes the eye to water and inflame, because dirt wasn't made to have a lasting place in the eye. Well, if dirt wasn't made to have a lasting place in the eye, dirt wasn't made to have a lasting place on the body or in the body or even in the mind. And since we have been buried in the mud and filth of the white man's civilization, then the mud and the filth is against the very nature of our life. Now, how can you prove that? Oh, brother. Study the universe. If the messenger teaches us that all life comes from water, then water is the base of everything. Now, if you look at water, though you have 139,685,000 square miles of water on the earth, some people say, well, after they count up all the water, there is more water mentioned than that which is found in the lakes, in the rivers, in the streams. But you must remember that in every apple, in every orange, in every grape, in every vegetable, in every life that walks on the earth, they also are composed of water. And you must remember that there's water in rocks, and there's water up above, and water beneath. You can't get away from water. Now, if you look at water, in the water it is composed of hydrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is fire. Hydrogen, kind of gives that fire, we call it balance, yeah, so that you get the energy of life. But there's fire in water. Now think that over. And all of the debris of the sea, the debris of the ocean, all of this life that's swimming in the sea, excreting waste and taking on. Why isn't the rivers and lakes polluted from the very waste matter of the tiny cell life right on up to the big sea reptiles and mammals of the sea? Why isn't the ocean and the rivers polluted from the natural life that is there? It is because in the very nature in which God created the universe, he created water to purify its own self, that when it became filthy, there's an agent in the water, which is the oxygen, that burns the filth, so that the longer water runs, she purifies her own self, showing you that cleanliness is not next to godliness. Cleanliness is godliness. Come on with it now. All praise is due to Allah. Just give me a couple more minutes. Now, brothers and sisters, we're just dealing on a physical plane. Some of you angry. I don't know what gets into you, black brothers and sisters. I mean, I haven't said nothing wrong. like you bored. Because you never heard it before? Why are you getting hot then? That shows you that Muhammad is a superior teacher than all your teachers you have known before. I can't help that. His superiority is your superiority because he's offering it to you and he's not asking you anything. All he says is be quick thinking, fast moving, clean in and out, right down to the modern time. You must clean up, he says, or you are out of luck with us. Now you know that's something. Some people say, well, you got to pay this. Some people say you got to do this. All Muhammad says you got to be quick thinking, fast moving, clean in and out, right down to the modern time. And if you don't clean up, he says, you're out of luck with us. I think that's a beautiful condition that he puts before us. Now, let's look at the wisdom of it, and then we go home. I don't have time to go into all the depth of it, but you are intelligent, and I'm sure you can see into it much further than I'm going to say, because your mind is turning over now. Now, look, if you study the history of the Christian nations, and I wish you would, before the Muslims went into Europe, did you know that it was the height of blasphemy and evil to bathe? In some writings of the Christian scholars, they said in their writings, some of them even boasted, nuns and whatnot, boasted they hadn't bathed in all their life just to wash their fingertips for the saying of Mass. I mean, this is true. Filth, as cleanliness was the hallmark of Muslims, filth was the hallmark of Christians. And did you know that they did not have bathing, public baths, and whatnot in Spain and Portugal and even in France until the Muslims, called the Moors, invaded Spain? I don't mean to go into a history lesson, but when the Islamic conquerors came in, they implemented their way of life. They implemented bathing among the people. Their style of architecture became or was adopted by the Spaniards. And in many, now all of the Spanish work, you can see the Arabic influence. Listen to me, and don't get angry with me. If you look at the flamenco dancers, if you listen to the music of Spain, you will hear the Arabic influence. If you look at the architecture of Spain, you can see the Arabic influence in architecture. If you look at the swarthiness of some of the Spaniards and the Portuguese, you can see the trace of the blood of the Arabs. Oh, this is true now. Now you and I have been colonized and Christianized by white people. And those same white people that made our fathers slaves did not permit us to bathe. Now we have grown up in that same old crazy tradition of bathing maybe once a week. When I was coming up in a good Christian home, my mother would be very hurt if I said it. So she's not here tonight, so I'll say it. We used to bathe once a week. Saturday night. Even have a bathtub. Get that big old galvanized pan. And we would sit in the pan to pour the water in, we sit in. Me and my brother. Then we were fortunate and we got a bathtub. But the same time schedule was there on Saturday night. Now look, every day that you live and breathe, you are excreting waste because you are a living organism. And there is no living organism that doesn't take on and give off. Otherwise, it's dead. Now, every day, waste is coming from you. It's coming from the mouth. It's coming, excuse me. Get myself together here. You understand? But now it's coming from the pores of your skin. Did you know that? So every day that you carry on normal activity, there is now waste material and cells that are dying right on your body, dead cells. And as these dead cells die on the body and you do not wash every day, at least once a day, with a very hot bath, you don't kill or wipe off the cells that have died, nor do you wash off the waste of the many hundreds of thousands of your pores. You wash your face, you wash your hands, that's what people see. And you may just do a little something under the arms, but then you don't even realize the stench that is coming from your body, from just living. It's not that you as a person have an offensive odor, but life itself. Just living life, if you don't clean as you live, then you're going to build up disease and slow down the movement of life. I mean, am I making any sense? Just like the proper care of the teeth. I don't want to go into everything because it's all so many different lectures in one, but I just want to show you about cleanliness. May I please? Listen, dear brothers and sisters, our teeth, we all eat food. We chew the food. The waste material of the food gathers around the teeth, forming what is called calculus and tartar, I think they call it. Very hard substance. Pretty soon that, with the acidity in the mouth, gets very firm. And then the gums pull away from the teeth. Now, as you chew food, particles of the food go down in the gum. And there, after just a few hours in the mouth, that food begins to decompose. And then your mouth begins to smell like a bowel movement. I'm not trying to be smart, but here you have decomposed matter in the mouth. And the lack of dental hygiene makes the mouth a living house of disease and filth. You take a cracker, you bite down on the cracker, and as you bite down on the cracker, some of the debris that is now in the gums mash right up into the cracker, and when you swallow the cracker and the butter, you're also swallowing the debris from your own gums. Then you wonder why your system is upset, why you can't gain weight, or why you're sluggish. It's because the body is unclean. And anything that is unclean will slow down. And when it slows down, it's dying, because everything that God creates, he sets on time. Am I making any sense? Look at the hair. This is a great, beautiful gift. Hair. When you walk in this kind of civilization, look at the filth that gathers on your car. And just leaving your car, you just wash your car, leave it out a few hours, come back and see the thin film of, of dust and debris. Am I right? 2 days, 3 days, you got to take your car to a car wash. But you don't wash your hair. You walking out in the street where germs are all in the air. I just want to talk to you. Here you got a city full of dogs. Every time a dog lifts his leg, there's some debris coming out. It said the dog will excrete 2 billion, I think it's tons of waste. All this waste is in the street. The sun comes and evaporates the urine. Now the urine is in the air. The feces from the dog and the germs from the dog is also in the air. There's bacteria now in the air, living germs. You don't see them, but they're out there. Now the germs and all that filth get in the hair, gets in the skin, get on your clothes. Now you wear the same underwear for a week, the same socks for 3 and 4 days. Socks stiff. You wonder how it got stiff. Underwear musty and cruddy. And you walking around with a clean over and a bad smelling under. And douse it down with a little perfume and sachet and move out spreading your you-know-what around. I mean, it sounds comical, but it's sad. It is sad that we as intelligent human beings have lost so much touch with nature and her divine laws that we allow ourselves to commit suicide in our own filth because we refuse to clean up. You see? Now, that's just the normal living. But now, when you put into your system improper foods, then you get a compounded stench, not only from the dying cells and the excreting of waste through the pores, but by eating poisonous foods, you get a sick smell from the inside. Whiskey, gin, alcohol is not to be taken internally. Cigarette tobacco, which is a poison weed. Then you turn around and eat hog maw, chitterling, pork chop, ham. Now you know that pig is out there eating everything in the garbage pail. And then you turn around and cook the scavenger. Put that nasty scavenger on the inside. Eat the fat of it, which is nothing more than the pus of it. And you let it slip on down. Worms and all. Now the inside of you is sick. I'm sorry. But look. You say, well, I don't eat no hog. So I'm not in that. I may smoke a little, I may drink a little, but I don't eat no hog. Anything that's contrary to the good functioning of your body is not good for you. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said if you don't eat no poison animal, drink any poison drink, or smoke any poison weed, there is poison in every good food. And when you eat 3 meals a day, you do not permit your system a chance to throw off the natural poisons that are in the best of foods that you eat. So the more you eat and stuff yourself, the poisons that you intake and can't throw off get into the blood and travel from the blood to the brain. You see, because whatever, as Muhammad teaches us, is found in the blood brings it to the brain. So now if filth is in the blood and the blood makes a circuit from the heel to the head and back again every 500 seconds or 8 1/3 minutes, then it drops the filth of the blood into the cell of the brain. Now the brain can't think fast if it's clogged with the filth of the blood. So therefore, if the black man is going to think fast, move fast, he's got to clean up. He's got to think in terms of a cleaner way of living. It's not that Elijah Muhammad is some man that's trying to force you to do things that you don't want to do. What the man is asking you to do is to save your life. He says to us, take a hot bath once a day at least. Let me tell you something, brother. Believe me. Try it. You love it. I mean, just plan on it and make it ritual. No bird bath, no sprinkle. You see, when you live in a filthy world like this and do the things that we do, brother, you don't need no sprinkling. You need total baptism, immersion in that water, and lay down in that thing. Huh? And look. Now, you know when you get up out of that tub, you leave your jewelry, don't you? You know that ring? Now, if you check your jewelry out, all that you left around that tub are the dead cells that came off. And if you notice sometimes, if you have a kind of a towel that's not so smooth, but a towel that's a little firm or rough, and you rub your arm and certain places on your body, you see things start to roll up. You say, what is that, man? You can scrape the bottom of your foot and stuff will come off of there for days. You say, well, man, I didn't come to the temple to hear all that stuff. Look, when you come to the temple, you're going to hear something about everything that deals with life. Because that's where Mr. Muhammad is coming from. You can't put Mr. Muhammad in no bag. He's a man that deals with everything that affects the lives of human beings. And all you got to do is listen to the man. The man is for you. I haven't said anything wrong yet. Everything that I said, you can prove it in no limit of time. It's from Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but the scholars and scientists will bear witness that the man is telling right. Okay, I'm almost finished. Now listen. When you take that firm towel and you wipe yourself, you notice that skin that you're looking at. You call it dirt, but it's only cells. Because you are a living organism, and cells are dying and being born all the time. Now, the cleaner you are is the cleaner you remove the dead cells from your body. And this is why a hot bath is desirable. A hot bath. You should make the water as hot as you can stand it. And that hot water stimulates the heart, the activity of the heart, and it stimulates the circulation of the blood, and it brings about perspiration, which also brings about the releasing of certain wastes of the system. Now you're learning how to be clean. But the more you learn to be clean, brothers and sisters, the more you learn to lengthen the span of your life. Now, you notice our people who are not Muslims, they have a very dull look in the face. I just want you to notice. Every time you see a Muslim, he's shining. You see most of our people who are non-Muslim, you see a kind of dull, deadish kind of look. You know, if you looked at our skin actually has a natural sheen on it. You know how that beautiful sun-ripened orange or apple, you know, when it's ripe, you can buff it down and it just shines? That's the way your skin is. You see, the very lesson and law of life, I mean, it's applicable to all living things. And if you grow properly, like that fruit, and it's under the right conditions, with just a little, polishing off or washing it, it just brings out the beauty of it and it begins to shine. You can take that apple right home. It may be dull because of the debris that's on it, but you take it home, wash off its skin, and you can polish it and make it shine almost like a stone. But what about you? You're a living thing, and there is a sheen, a natural sheen to the human being that takes care of his or herself. I notice a lot of the sisters, will paint their nails, and brothers too will go and get manicured and paint up. But if you eat the proper foods, your nails will have a natural sheen to them that is as glossy as any artificial gloss that you can put on your nail. Your hair, you don't have to slick it up and grease it down. You just have to wash it and brush it and care for it. And the more you care for it, you bring out of the hair the natural oils that are there already. You just have to know how to live, and you have to desire to clean up. You should never put on the same underclothes. Take a bath and then jump into the same old underclothes. Well, what's the sense of bathing? Well, I ain't got but a few pair. Well, wash it out at night then. You say, well, man, you shouldn't. People feel embarrassed. When you talking like this, brother. Well, who's in here but us? Ain't nobody in here but us. Ain't no whitey in here. What do we got to be embarrassed about when we're talking over our family affairs? I don't care where you're from. We need this kind of teaching. We all could be more clean. All right, now I'm going to close. See, listen, this subject is so deep and so broad and so wide that we could stay on this for a long, long time. But it's really not necessary, for if you just take the little that we're giving you from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad tonight and research it, then try to just carry it into practice, you'll feel so much better. The next time I see you, you'll feel better. Now listen, a Muslim really shines. He really don't have to grease down now. He shines. I looked at the messenger's skin today. It was just like that apple I was talking about. The color in it, was a little red and a little brown. And his skin was so tight across his cheek, it was just shining. I couldn't find a wrinkle nowhere. He's 76 years old, but there wasn't no wrinkle in his face, no wrinkle around his eyes. And his hands smoother than mine. I just looked at it. No, I'm not envious. Because he said, come follow me. And anytime a man said, come follow him, there's no need for you to be envious, because if you follow him, you can look just like that. That's the beauty of what Muhammad is saying. He's not keeping it to himself. He's spreading it to every one of us who will accept it. Anyway, as I looked at him, and I saw that radiance in his skin, and I also saw, when I first sat down with him, he wasn't as radiant as he was when I left him. When I left him, he was very radiant. Now, what does that mean? It means this. When you are thinking on problems, the problems that are a part of our lives rob us of energy, electrical or spiritual energy, whatever you call it, the more you think on your problems, or the problems of your business, or the problems of your family, or the problems of your life, the energy is spent focusing on the problem, and the face begins to reflect the gravity of your problem. Do it. Make it clear. Okay. The moment someone can take your mind off of your problem and give you something to focus on that is good, it gives you a chance to rebuild your battery, which is your mind, with energy to go back to the problem and solve it. Now, I want to come to something. I don't want to go too far and get too heavy, but I just want you to just try and grasp this. Now listen, brother. I want you to follow me. The messenger teaches us that the black man was not created to think wrong. He was created to think right. Now, if we will agree that we are from the Creator, whatever name you call it, He created. And if that same Creator created a universe that speaks to order, discipline, and it functions rightly, then the mind out of which that Creator created is as ordered and as disciplined and as right as His creation. Because nothing can come out of a man but what is in the man. Is that right? You can't get something out of the brain that's not there. If you're an artist, your painting will reflect your mind. If you're a musician, your song will reflect your mood. Whatever you are, your actions, or whatever your thinking is, your thinking will absolutely make itself manifest in whatever you do. Therefore, when a housewife is not feeling well, she's angry with her husband, disgruntled, did you know that whatever's in her mind reflects itself in the food? Now you may say, oh, come on, Farrakhan. Oh, come on, sister. Check it. When you are happy, your mind is balanced. And when your mind is balanced, you will tend to season the food better. You will tend not to overdo nor underdo, because the joy of your mind gives you balance, and the lightness of your spirit is reflected in the beauty of the meal. But you can make a light meal heavy, and it reflects the heaviness of your thinking, the heaviness of your burden. It's all coming out. Because whatever we are in our minds, that's what we are. Now, what does that mean? Look. You're going to give me the 5 more minutes? Thank you. What this teaches us, all from the messenger, is that thinking right is a perpetual energizer of the brain cell. Thinking right is just like a fuel that will perpetually energize the brain. Just like that sun out there has a source of energy that man has not yet discovered. She keeps on burning and never burns out. Right thinking puts you right in harmony with the Creator and his order. So you keep on drawing. When you think wrong thoughts, and then entertain the wrong thought, invite the thought into the brain, sit it down and make it comfortable, and then feed it and rest it there, then the evilness of the thought, which is against the very nature of the cell of the brain, acts as planing wood against the grain. When you plane wood against the grain, you rob the wood of its beauty. When you think against the nature of the cell of the brain, you rob your mind of its beauty and its power. Now, what am I saying? To think wrong or evil or filth is the same as filthy intake through the mouth. To think evil and filthy thoughts and then entertain them and then put filth on top of filth, then you begin to slow down the motion of the mind. So the mind now is not able to grasp things that it could grasp. The mind is not able to see and vision things that it ordinarily would see and vision. Therefore, the man becomes blind and stumbles and falls because of the filth of his own mind. Now listen, if you don't think, now I know you think, oh, come on, Farrakhan, you just left me here. Wait a minute. Before you say we're crackpots, what happened to ancient Rome, Babylon, Sodom and Gomorrah, Greece? What's happening to America? How come they can't see? When yesterday their thinking seemed to be correct. But you see, when evil outweighs good, then the filth of the man is predominating. Then it begins to slow his motion down. Now, if you want to see a temple's motion or an organization's motion, this is how you can see it. Because when the work and labor slow down, see, then there's filth in the system. See? And that means that this filth has to be weeded out in order for the organism to pick up life and power to do again. Just making signs and everything that we have. All right, now I'm going to leave you. That may have been too heavy a point for many of you to think on. But I'm going to tell you something, brother. You know, when you begin to think so filthy that cleanliness and clean thinking is adverse to you, then you start running into things that ordinarily you might have been able to see. And before you know it, you end up on Rikers Island, or you end up in the tombs, or you end up in a terrible situation, and you say, well, wow, why didn't I see that? You can see it then because the jolt has caused you to entertain a better thought, because now you're putting things in perspective. Because the mind, like water, always wants to purify itself. You understand? So after you and I get a jolt, boom, then you begin to reason the thing out. You can see where you went wrong, but why didn't you see it before? It's because the filth of your desires and mind was so strong and overpowering, and we entertained it till it became a part of us and blinded us. And that's why I'm going to conclude now. You can never truly clean up by just cleaning up the body. You can never clean up just by taking a bath. You can never clean up just by eating proper foods and cleansing the system internally. But there must be a cleansing of the mind. Because this is where it all comes from, brothers and sisters. Right here. Now this is hard, except for the humble ones. But I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, when we are dirty, physically and spiritually, we hurt our present and we damage our future. A dirty man who eats poisoned food and does not bathe, the filth of that man is also a part of his sperm. Do you hear me, brother? Now you can poison your body. If you're only thinking of you want to just destroy yourself, call yourself having a good time, well, we can't force you. We're only trying to, entreat you to do what's right. Now every one of you young brothers are going to meet a woman one day that you're going to fall in love with and want her to bear life for you. But it is true as the rain that falls from above that the sins of the father are absolutely visited upon the children. Even though the child have nothing to do with it. Think over that now. Here you are. Now listen to me carefully. You too, sister. Because the filth of you becomes a part of your very tissues. And the ovary that you carry to reproduce life also speaks to the filth of your life. Huh? Now here's a man, he don't care. He don't want to bathe. He's pouring poison into himself. His system is slowed down. But out of all of that, he's still reproducing a sperm or a germ of life. Here she is. She don't want to clean up either. Then the two of them mate. And the sperm from the filthy meets the egg from the filthy, forming a drop of blood that is already unclean from its conception. You think now, because the very poison of the drugs that you take, the very poison of your system that is in that sperm forms the first drop of blood that becomes the base of a new life that you call your child. So when that child is born, it is born already limited in its lifespan. It is born limited in its ability to think and grasp the great truths that are here. Because it takes a clean and a right mind to see. I was talking with one of the scientists who can absolutely put a glass of water on the table and bring the entire earth into a glass of water and see in the water just like you see on television. I know you think that's far-fetched. Maybe I shouldn't even tell it to you because your mind may not be developed to take it. But it was one of these scientists that can look into water that told me what was going to happen in Florida. Didn't mention the city, but told me how to act and how to be careful because of what would happen by looking in water. And he said to me, brother, he said the secret of seeing in the water is that the water is life. And it comes from Allah. And the more righteous you are, the more clean you are, you can see. So seeing is not just a physical thing. seeing is with the mind, brother. I'm not trying to take you in no spookville, because a lot of things that in our infancy we just don't understand. But I'm telling you, brother, righteousness enables a man to see what a wicked man can't see. And the man's cells of the brain are so functioning on righteousness that he's able to see what we can't see. Well, now, since that tiny drop of blood forms the cell, the first cell, and forms the brain, if that first drop of blood is impure, how is the second? And its multiplication is going to be pure if the first one is. The Bible tells you if the lump is holy, or the first fruit is holy, then the lump is holy. This is teaching you something. You and I not only have to guard what we eat, we've got to guard what we think. Now I'm going to leave you. But the very thought of the mind is also passed on in the germ or sperm or egg. So that if we don't police our thinking, we make children after our thoughts, because thoughts are things. Men think today, but things, matter is shaped by thought. If you doubt it, go look at a faggot. He'll tell you something about thought. The dude go to thinking like a woman so much, his features begin to change. Check him out. What happened here? You know, he's gotten to be a sister. And it's reflected right in the matter of him. Matter shaped by mind. So now if your mind is not right, but you're willing to clean up what you eat, then what kind of children will we produce from the mind? All right, I'm going to leave it there, because I know some of you don't want to hear cleaning up the mind. But remember, he said cleanliness in and out. You must clean up, or you're out of luck with us. That means that we got to clean up our bodies, but we also have to clean up our thinking. And I want to tell you as I leave you, you know, the way to stay young and the way to stay beautiful is to think right and to try to live right. And when a man does right by his fellow man, he does not have the regret. You know, that feeling of pain because you wronged your brother or sister. You can face the mirror and you can look at yourself and smile. You know? Many times as we begin to build a nation for the black man, each of us is going to offend one another. Because not one of us is perfect. But as I offend you, or you offend me, or we offend one another, if we allow evil to set up in the heart and then entertain it and feed it, you think you hurting that person? Do you know who you hurt? Hurting yourself. It's not worth it. Who is worth disturbing your peace? I mean, a lot of people are going to do you wrong, but in reality, their wrong that they do to you, they have done it against themselves. The only person that can hurt you is you. And once you realize that, all you got to do is take your own foot out of your own mouth, or your own foot out of your own way, and stop tripping over the filth of your mind. You got to clean up. And I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters, as I leave you. You know, I can focus on problems and age just like that. And the moment I get away from those problems of the temple and of you and of the work, and get involved with the rightness of the messenger, his teachings, brother, it's just like a man has drunk some water from the fountain of youth. That's just how I will lose years almost right in front of your face. To bear witness to you that your thinking is how you age and die. And if you would get rid of the thoughts of evil and remember that he who does evil inordinately and maliciously is bound to get it in return. You don't even have to think in terms of giving it back to anybody. And don't waste your heart and your mind worrying over what people are saying about you or doing to you so that you lose your integrity. You keep a smile on your face. So that what people say about you can't hurt you. Because it's written in the scripture, it's not what go in that defile a man, it's what come out. Now look at this. I mean, the messenger taught me this one night and I flipped at the table. When I say flipped, I mean, you know. I mean, it was so heavy, yet it was so light. I said, why didn't I see it? Because I'm blind. Why am I blind? Because I'm still, you know, in the world of the white man. And unless he leads me out into the light, I can't find the light. But he said this. See what you hear somebody put right in your ear. Look, man, you know so-and-so, he fooling around with your old lady, man.